Can Stranger Things really stick the landing, or is it too late for the upside down? We are back in Hawkins, Indiana for one last ride with the gang because Stranger Things has been renewed for a fifth and final season. And I cannot help but feel like this show has lost its way a bit. But can Season 5 correct that course, or is it too little, too late? Let's get into it. Coming off the fourth season, there are some big questions that need to be addressed. First up, we travel to the Upside Down one last time. As satisfying as it was to see the destruction of Vecna's hive, it left us with a lingering question. How much more damage can Hawkins take? The town and its surrounding areas have been through hell and back several times now, and the idea of them having to do it yet again just doesn't sit right with me. And if that's what Season 5 is going to open with, then I'm not looking forward to it. Speaking of things I'm not looking forward to, we're still going to have to deal with Will's arc. And I know I've already talked about this, but honestly, it still feels undercooked. I'm not opposed to the idea of Will struggling with PTSD from his time in the Upside Down, but the execution so far hasn't been great, and the whole coming out as gay thing felt shoehorned in and not earned at all. Will has always been one of my favorite characters, but I'm starting to lose faith in the writer's ability to give him the justice he deserves. And speaking of characters, there are just too many of them, and I say this as someone who loves ensemble casts. There are just too many characters to give adequate closure to, especially when some of these characters were only ever one note, like Max being only the "I'm in a wheelchair now" character. I mean, sure, you could argue that her character has more depth than that, but the show doesn't seem to think so, and even for characters that are more well-developed, like Robin, there just hasn't been enough screen time to give them the send-off that they deserve. I personally would have liked to see more of a focus on the original characters, maybe even ditching the whole parallel storyline with Will, and introducing a new character. But alas, here we are. The Duffer Brothers have said that Season 5 will start off picking up right where Season 4 left off, which means we will have to contend with the fallout of that cliffhanger. While I do think that it was a good cliffhanger, I don't think it was a great execution. It was cool to see Eleven using her powers in such a destructive way. But I've talked about this before. I feel like Eleven's power creep has gotten out of control. At this point, she literally has the power to destroy an entire army of demons with the snap of her fingers. That's not a fun power level to bring back a villain from the dead. Now I understand that this is a show about a group of kids taking on a seemingly unstoppable evil, but it's hard for me to take the threat of Vecna seriously when he's already been defeated by a 14-year-old girl with anger issues. Don't get me wrong, Vecna himself is a great villain. He's creepy, he's tragic, and he represents a very real fear that a lot of people have. I think that if they had introduced him earlier in the series, he could have been an iconic villain. But unfortunately, the show had already established Eleven as a near-omnipotent Mary Sue of a character, so it was always going to be hard to take him seriously as a threat. If Season 5 is able to address any of these issues, then maybe there is hope for the show yet. But the fact that we're already seeing rumblings about a Stranger Things movie on Netflix's doomed cinematic universe makes me think that Netflix is just stretching out the series for as long as possible for profit. The Duffers have said that Season 5 will be the last time that we see these characters. But given the success of the show, I don't think that they'd be opposed to revisiting the world of Stranger Things in the future. What are your thoughts? Do you think that Stranger Things can still save itself after the events of Season 4? If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to check out more content. Thanks for watching,